Hello everybody, Accureye here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks Are. And in today's Accureye Talks Are, I thought we'd talk about one mistake that is leading into a series that I am making, talking about every single weapon in the game. Now, I know I kind of did an intro to every single weapon in the game back in the day, but I think that was a rough intro, and today is going to be the start of this intro slash series. So let's talk about the mistakes that everyone is making. And trust me, you're probably making this mistake even if you don't think you are, which is using the weapon incorrectly. I know, this is probably a mistake like, what do you mean I'm using a weapon incorrectly? Well, trust me, you're more than likely using a weapon incorrectly and you just don't realize it. I mean, it's okay. Trust me, I realize myself I'm not using weapons correctly all the time. Heck, if I was using weapons correctly all the time, I probably wouldn't be doing as bad as I am. But, trust me, I think I am using weapons incorrectly, and it does kind of show. Now, this video I did kind of came up as I was testing out weapons to start the series on all the weapons and how to use them correctly or properly. So, with that having been said, it does end up with this series being part of the how to use weapons correctly in a way. And this is just talking about mistakes that you may be using to, use that weapon. And I mean, don't worry, this happens. It happens a lot. A lot of us don't even realize we're probably using a weapon incorrectly because, I mean, let's face it, 9 out of 10 times we've come to a set motion of how to use weapons. We know how to use certain weapons, and, we've been using that certain weapon a certain way for a long time. But have you ever questioned why you miss shots? I mean, let's face it, 9 out of 10 times you may have never questioned why you miss shots. And if you don't question why you miss shots, then you don't understand that maybe you're using the weapon incorrectly. And, I mean, it does happen. I will tell you that from experience that, a lot of the weapons I normally use, for instance, the R99, the Alternator, the Havoc, the Hemlock, the Longbow, what else? The Peacekeeper, the Mozambique, the P2020. All those weapons, I was probably using them incorrectly to some degree. And I'm not going to lie, I was probably using them incorrectly because, let's face it, 9 out of 10 times, we don't even realize we're using a weapon incorrectly because we got it triggered in our brain. Now, this is kind of, I think, the autopilot in our brain. We have it triggered in our brain that we have to ADS a certain weapon or ADS certain weapons in order to be successful with them. I mean, trust me, this happens to me, as you'll see here. You see here that I was using non-ADS and I was able to hit those guys that guy with almost no problem. And then all of a sudden, I made a mistake, of course, by not switching weapons while I was in a reload state. But still, it's like, you gotta recognize that maybe you're using a weapon incorrectly. And trust me, it does happen. And I think it does happen to most of us because we got triggered in our brains that we have to ADS, that we have to aim down sights in order to get the best chance to, take down a certain, or to use that certain weapon. But, I mean, 9 out of 10 times when you look at it, more or less, weapons do not need to be ADS. And I think it's just basically triggered in our brain that we have to ADS this certain weapon in order to be successful with it, or in order to use it correctly. And, I mean, in the end of the day, I don't think that's the case. I think there are plenty of weapons in the game, or in Apex Legends, or in any game, where they were designed to not be ADS'd. And ADSing them really only hinders your ability compared to, using them as intended, aka hip-firing them. Now, is this ring true with every weapon? Absolutely not. In fact, some weapons may not even need to be ADS compared to others. And other weapons need to be ADS more than their counterparts, per se. So yeah, in the end of the day, it all comes down to, determining what is the best way to basically, win the fight and win the, win the overall, process, if you will. I think that's something that, many of us don't recognize and many of us are, maybe not even knowing yet. It's just how to recognize what weapons need to be used for that particular situation. For instance, hip firing only. Something like the Havoc, which I will talk about, is kind of a hip fire only weapon. And, other weapons like, I don't know, the longbow, it's kind of an ADS only weapon. Now, it's like, it may sound crazy and you may be thinking, well, why would those weapons only be that particular style? And, the reason they're that particular style is just because that's the way they work best. That's the best way to utilize them in most cases. But, I mean, in other cases, obviously in other cases, there are times where certain other weapons may be better than others for non-ADSing. And, it kind of just rolls off the tongue like that, So, I mean, you just gotta recognize which weapons are that type. Which weapons are kind of in that category of, like, oh, I can ADS this one. I can do this, or I can do that. And, maybe it's going to be useful for me to do that. I mean, in some cases, yes. The spread lowers when you do ADS. I'm not going to lie. But most of the time when you do have to ADS, it's probably for something where the target is really, really super far away. And you want to get that precise shot off them. You don't want to, be that, off that shot or off that aim, for say. And, I mean, that's kind of the cases where, ADSing might come in handy. Might be more useful overall compared to the other, other situations. But, yeah, with that being said, recognizing these situations and recognizing, exactly what you should be doing to a degree should be your absolute goal at the end of the day. And, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having it to be your absolute goal to, learn how to use each weapon correctly. Now, some weapons are very, have a variety, when it comes down to it. And some weapons can really utilize both hip firing and, ADS very, very well. But, again, we'll talk about these weapons and we'll talk about these things as, as, of course, we progress, and as, of course, I continue to, make my weapon series. So, yeah, with that being said, I mean, this is my thought and talk about, how you might be using weapons incorrectly, and just, learning to recognize the mistake of some weapons are better hip-fired and only using hip-fire compared to others. I mean, if you have a weapon like the R301, which has switch-fire, that becomes a variety or an alternating weapon, a weapon that you can both utilize in hip-fire and, of course, non-hip-fire. But again, all that is down to what weapon are you guys using. Now, I can't answer that for you. If you're like me and you use the R301, the alternator, the Mozambique, the the flatline, the Hemlock, I can give you a surefire answer on how to, or the Peacekeeper or the EVA 8, I can give you a surefire answer on how to utilize that weapon to its best form. But if you're using something like, I don't know, the G7 Scout, the Wingman, the Prowler, the Hemlock, the Triple Take, I can't give you a full-off answer right at the moment. Now, does that mean I'm not going to give you a full-off answer? No, I will give you a full-off answer in my weapon series. But again, some of these weapons, I have an opinion that they are the worst weapons in the game compared to other weapons. Compared to other weapons in the game because of their viability. Or because of the, how you need to use them, how you should utilize them. So, with that being said, obviously, I cannot give you a straight answer on all the weapons right now. But if you have an immediate question and it's a weapon that I use commonly, then I can give you a probably good answer on how to utilize that weapon. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell notification because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you everybody for joining me today on this video. Thank you for watching this video. And until the next one, everybody. This is Accureye. Saying thank you for joining me, and come join me live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. I am live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday for sure for about 4 to 5 hours. But it all depends. Usually it's about 4 to 5 hours. But lately I've also been live on Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday I am live on for about 2 to 3 hours, and of course I upload videos for you all on Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. The times vary. Usually that depends on how the internet handles and whatnot. But with that being said, thank you everybody for joining me today. Thank you for watching today's video. Thank you for stopping by and being here. And until the next one, everybody, this is Accureye signing out and saying farewell, everyone. But thank you everyone for joining me, and hopefully you'll join me on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Accureye. But until next one, everybody, farewell.